welcome to our final reading of the book Way of the Warrior Kid by Jocko Willink. In addition to that, since this is our final book reading, we're also going to give away this book right here, this copy of it, if you email me after this video goes on YouTube. If you are the second person to email me, you will get this free book. On top of that, if you are the first person to email me, you will get this awesome Wisconsin Army National Guard rucksack backpack provided by Sergeant First Class Elijah Wagner from the Janesville Recruiting Station. So, all you have to do is email me. The first two will get the prizes. All right, let's get into our final chapters of the book. Chapter 21, Super Aquaman. Today I learned something that I will never, ever forget. Today I learned about fear and how to beat it. Ever since I swam across the river on my own, swimming has gotten easier and easier. Uncle Jake has been taking me to the river every other day, and we have been having a lot of fun. And I have become pretty comfortable in the water. I can swim to the other side and back really easily. I'm relaxed when I'm treading water. I can even swim about halfway across the river completely underwater. But today I almost forgot about all that comfort. Today I felt fear because today was the day Uncle Jake wanted me to jump off the bridge into the water. I thought it was going to be just another day of swimming. We got down to the river, started swimming around, doing what we have been doing. Then Uncle Jake called me over to the sandy little beach by the riverbank. I swam over, kind of showing off my skills. When I stood up, he said, "Today's the day." I wasn't quite sure what he was talking about. "What day?" I asked. "The bridge," he said as he nodded toward the huge bridge that spanned the river. For some reason, and I can't explain why, I went into panic mode. "The bridge!" I thought. The bridge! It was tall, and even though I was comfortable in the water, when I thought about jumping from the bridge and landing in the water, I don't know. It just completely freaked me out. So I decided that maybe today wasn't a good day for the bridge, and I tried to make it into no big deal. "I think I'd rather just swim today," Uncle Jake said. "We can do the bridge." "I think I'd rather just swim today, Uncle Jake. We can do the bridge jump next time." As I finished my sentence, I started actually turning around toward the river like I was going to keep swimming. "Hey," Uncle Jake said sharply and quickly. I tried to ignore him for another half of a second. "Hey!" barked Uncle Jake, this time louder and with more force. A force I knew I couldn't ignore anymore. I turned around and faced him. "You're going off that bridge today," he said, in a matter-of-fact way. The way that means Uncle Jake is 100% set in his mind, and his mind will not change. But I couldn't help myself from trying to change it anyway. "It's okay, Uncle Jake. I'm just going to swim today. I'll go off the bridge." "It's not okay," Uncle Jake cut me off. "You are going off that bridge today." I knew that arguing was useless. Once Uncle Jake has made up his mind, there is no reasoning with him. And more important, I knew deep inside that he was right. I was ready to jump off the bridge. I was just terrified. Okay, I told Uncle Jake, trying to seem cool about the whole situation as I slowly started walking up the bank of the river towards the bridge. "I'll watch you from down here," said Uncle Jake. "Okay," I said softly. I kept walking, and with each step I took, I got more and more terrified about the jump. Time started to slow down. I don't even know why I was so scared, but I was. Finally, I got to the spot on the bridge where I was supposed to jump. I looked over the edge. How did the river get so far down? Okay, let's go, Mark, Uncle Jake shouted up to me. I couldn't even respond. I just stood there. Go ahead, Mark, jump! I still couldn't say anything, but I stepped up over the little fence along the side of the bridge and shuffled towards the edge where I was supposed to jump from. I looked straight ahead and was really thinking about doing it. Then I looked down and I got overwhelmed and scared and I just stood there. What's the issue, Mark? Uncle Jake yelled to me. I don't know what to say. Or I didn't know what to say. What's wrong? He asked again, louder. I just sat there on the little wall along the edge of the bridge. Then I saw Uncle Jake walking up toward the bridge, obviously coming to either yell at me or throw me off. But when he got up next to me, he didn't yell at all. Come to think of it, Uncle Jake hardly ever yells. What's going on, buddy? He said in a calm voice. I don't know, I said. I'm just... You're afraid, aren't you? Uncle Jake asked. But he wasn't even asking. He knew. He knew I was scared. There was no point in denying it. Uncle Jake knew it as plain as day. Yes, I finally said in a quiet tone, embarrassed that I was afraid. How I feel right now. Then, to my surprise, Uncle Jake said, That's normal. What? I responded, shocked at Uncle Jake's statement. I said, That's normal. You are doing something you've never done before, so it's normal to be a little hesitant. It's called fear. It's a normal emotion, and it's okay. Then he added, Well, it's okay as long as you can control it. This made no sense to me. How am I supposed to control fear? And how would you know? You're not afraid of anything. Uncle Jake sat quietly for a minute. Then he said, I wish that were true. What do you mean? I asked him. Well, you said I'm not afraid of anything, and that is just not true. Fear is normal. In fact, fear is good. Fear is what warns you when things are dangerous. Fear is what makes you prepare. Fear keeps us out of a lot of trouble. So there's nothing wrong with the fear. But fear can also be overwhelming. It can be unreasonable. It can cause you to freeze up and make bad decisions or hesitate when you need to act. So you have to learn to control it. And that's what you need to do right now. Okay, that sounds great. And I would really love to make you happy and overcome my fear, but I don't know how. Um, I'm going to need you to take a hike. Uncle Jake thought about what I asked him for a few seconds and then said, Okay, well, the first part of controlling fear you have already done, and that is preparation. You've done plenty of preparation to be ready for this moment, to face this fear, starting with dunking your head all the way up to swimming all around and back and forth across the river. You have done little jumps off of the riverbank. All of the last several weeks have been preparing you for this jump. And all that preparation works to help overcome the fear. Imagine how scared you would be if you still didn't know how to swim. You'd be horrified, but you have prepared. Then why am I still scared? I asked Uncle Jake. Simple, he said, because there is still an element of the unknown. You have never jumped off anything this high before, so you don't know what it feels like. People are afraid of what they don't know or they don't understand. But you have prepared. You know it is safe. You know you are ready. It is just this last little bit of fear that has to be overcome. And you know how you do that? I have no idea, I told him. You go. Just go? I asked Uncle Jake, now partly thinking he was just joking. Yes, you just go. You see, fear lives in the moment, that powerful moment between when you decide you are going to do something and when you do it. Once you go, once you start, you won't be afraid anymore. You overcome the fear by going, and it's the same in many aspects of life. Parachuting, talking in front of a crowd, taking a test, running a race, competing in jiu-jitsu. The fear is in the waiting. So, once you have prepared and trained and studied and planned, there's only one thing left to do. Go. And that's it? Yes, that's it. As soon as Uncle Jake finished those words, he stood up, looked at me, yelled out, "Hoo yeah!" and jumped off the bridge. Just go, I thought to myself. I stood up, stepped up onto the edge of the wall, and looked down at Uncle Jake, who had just come back to the surface and was looking up at me with a big smile on his face. With all my heart and lungs, I yelled out, "Hoo yeah!" And I stepped off of the edge of the bridge, past my fear, and into the unknown. I felt myself falling for a while, and then whoosh, I was in the water. I came to the surface and had a big smile on my face. "I can fly," I yelled. "I can fly." Uncle Jake laughed and got out and ran up and jumped again, and I followed him without hesitation. And then we did it again and again and again. And the fear, it was gone. All I had to do was prepare and get ready, and then I just had to take the first step and go. Chapter 22. 10. That's the name of the chapter. TEN. Explanation point. I never thought that this day would come. Uncle Jake had me rest for 2 straight days in the morning instead of working out. The first morning, instead of working out, he took me to breakfast. The next day, we ate breakfast at home, and he started teaching me how to play chess, which seems like a really complicated game, but is actually pretty easy once you understand it. Then, after 2 days of rest, Uncle Jake met me down in the garage in the morning to work out. "Today's the big day," he said. "Why is that?" I asked. "You will see," said Uncle Jake. Now get up on the pull-up bar and do one pull-up." "One?" I asked, not believing that Uncle Jake would only have me do one pull-up. "Yes, just one," Uncle Jake replied. I jumped up on the bar and did a pull-up. I was a little stiff, but it did feel pretty easy. "Now another one," Uncle Jake ordered. "Just one?" I asked. "Yes, just one." I grabbed a hold of the pull-up bar and pulled my chin over the bar. Now a little warmer, I felt even stronger. Then Uncle Jake had me do one more, and then one more, and then one more. As I got warmer and warmer and more loosened up, I felt stronger and stronger. Then Uncle Jake said, "Now you are going to rest for about 2 minutes." I stretched my arms a little and waited for the time to go by. Then Uncle Jake said, "Now jump up on the bar and do 10 pull-ups." I should have known this was coming. But the weird thing was, instead of being concerned that I wouldn't be able to do it, I felt really strong and like I actually could do it. "Okay," I said. I stepped up and grabbed a tight hold of the pull-up bar. Uncle Jake said, "Go," and I started pulling. 1, 2, 3, 4. I wasn't even feeling these yet. 5, 6, 7. I felt a little tired, but not too bad. And I was about to break my record. 8. There were 8 pull-ups. the most I've ever done in my life. And I wasn't done yet. I pulled again. 9. Yes! Another record. I was a little tired, but I knew I had another one in me. So I pulled again, and got my chin over the bar. 10! Uncle Jake said. I dropped off the bar, and then I jumped into the air. I did it! I yelled, and then quickly corrected what I had said. We did it. Uncle Jake gave me a high five and then said, No, that wasn't us. It was you. I might have told you what to do, but make no mistake, you did this. Well, I couldn't have done it without you, Uncle Jake, I told him. Maybe so, but you did the work. You did the practice. You did the pull-ups. Well done, Mark, he told me. And then he added, Now get up there and do another set of 10. And I did just that. I jumped up on the bar and was able to do another 10 pull-ups. And then I did another set of 10. And then a set of 9. And then 2 sets of 8. A set of 7. 4 sets of 6. 2 sets of 5. 2 sets of 4. Then 3, 2, and 1. And that was it. I was now officially a kid who can do 10 pull-ups. No more hiding from the pull-up bar in school. No more being embarrassed about being weak. This was real. As I thought about this, I looked at Uncle Jake and said, Thanks. No problem, Mark. And I want you to remember something. This isn't just about pull-ups. You know what else this is about. You know what else this is about? I wasn't quite sure. I don't know. Uncle Jake grabbed me by both shoulders and looked me straight in the eyes and said gravely, This is about everything. Everything. Just think, 2 months ago, you couldn't do any pull-ups. At all. 0. Now you can do 10. All it took was a good plan and the discipline to execute the plan. To do it. That's what it takes. And you can apply that to just about anything. If you are willing to do the work, you can make things happen. And like I told you, no one else is going to do the work for you. Sure, you might get some help along the way, but you might not. Who knows? What we do know is this: hard work and discipline are how you achieve things. You have to make things happen. And that is exactly what you did here, and what you can do with almost anything in life. Remember that. I will, Uncle Jake, I will, I told him. And he was 100% right. People say you can do anything you want in life, but what they don't tell you is that you have to work for it. With hard work, anything is possible. Chapter 23. Stand Alone. It didn't even hit me until last night when I saw Uncle Jake packing up all of his gear that he was leaving. Just like that, summer was over, and just like that, Uncle Jake was leaving. I must have looked pretty sad because Uncle Jake asked me what was wrong. What's wrong? You're leaving. That's what's wrong. Yeah, but you're going back to school, and you'll be back with all your buddies. I know, but I tried to think of a way to say what I was thinking. But what? Uncle Jake asked. But none of those kids can help me be strong. None of those kids can teach me to do things I don't know how to do. None of those kids are warriors like you. Sorry, Fred. You're just not a warrior. I know. Can you help me get out of the sack? Uncle Jake mumbled. I thought for the first time that Uncle Jake was stumped. How am I going to keep getting stronger and smarter and better without you around? How am I going to be a warrior all by myself? Uncle Jake took a hard look at me and then he said, The truth is, you don't need me around to be a warrior. Oftentimes, the warrior stands alone. It can happen for many reasons. Maybe he got left behind. Maybe the rest of his team got killed. Maybe he just grew old and his fellow warriors died. Maybe he got assigned a job that put him out there on the battlefield by himself. None of that matters. The warrior remains strong. The warrior must know how to stand alone. Only my Uncle Jake could make being left by myself sound cool, but I still wasn't buying it. Okay, but who is going to train me and help me study? Who is going to make sure I get up in the morning? Who is going to make sure I go back to my who's going to make sure I don't go back to my old lazy ways? Uncle Jake answered quickly, "You don't need me for that anymore. As a matter of fact, you never needed me. Sure, I showed you the path, but you could have found it on your own. You know what you need to do to stay on the warrior path. Hard work, discipline, study, eat good food, keep your room and your gear in order, set new goals and work hard to meet them. Keep training jujitsu. This is all stuff you know. As a matter of fact, this is all stuff you can actually teach and share with your friends. And you need to do that. You need to become a leader to help your friends learn to be stronger and smarter and better. Teach them to be the best they can be. You have changed a lot over the summer. The other kids will see that. You will become a leader now. They will follow." "I'm not sure I'm ready to be a leader," I told Uncle Jake, thinking about what that would be like. People usually don't feel like they are ready to be leaders, but I'm telling you, you are ready. You know the path, and you are humble. That is the most important thing about being a leader. Remember that you don't know everything. Listen and take advice from other people. Always be ready to learn and try to be better. Those are qualities a leader needs, and you have them. Trust me, Mark, you are going to have a great year at school." With that, Uncle Jake went back to packing up all his gear, and the next morning my mom and I drove him to the airport. When we got there, I was feeling sad and wasn't saying much. We pulled up to the airport and stopped next to the curb to drop off Uncle Jake. I got out of the car to say goodbye. My mom got out too. She hugged Uncle Jake, and then she looked at him and said, "Thank you for everything." And after she said everything, she looked right at me. Even my mom noticed how much Uncle Jake had helped me. He gave me a hug, then reached into his bag and pulled out a little box and gave it to me. "This is for you, warrior kid." He held out his hand for a shake. I gripped it and gave it a good squeeze. "Better," he said, "but you still have work to do on that grip." Then just like that, he turned and walked away. I felt sad, but I actually didn't feel as sad as I thought I would. I opened the box. In it was a watch just like Uncle Jake had, and on the watch band was a little compass that pointed north. There was a little note inside the box from Uncle Jake. It said, "The watch will help you stay disciplined by making you remember to get better every second of the day." I already set the alarm for early morning every day. The compass will remind you to stay on the warrior path. Discipline equals freedom. Uncle Jake. I put the watch on, and I don't think I will ever take it off. Chapter 24. First days back to school. Well, the first day of 6th grade was a lot different from my last day of 5th grade. It was awesome. Where do I begin? It all started in my math class. We had to take a timed test on the multiplication tables. We had 15 minutes to do it. I was done in 6 minutes, and when I got done, I went back and checked every answer. I knew them all 100%. Right before recess, we had a fitness baseline test where we had to do 2 minutes worth of push-ups, 2 minutes of sit-ups, and of course, one set of as many pull ups as we could do. I did 82 push ups, 91 sit ups, and 14 pull ups. Only one kid in my class did more than me, Taylor, who is super strong and did 16. But it was awesome. There were a couple of kids that remembered last year when I couldn't do any. They were watching like hawks when I walked over to the bar, and I know they were waiting to make fun of me. Instead, when I got done beating both of them, by the way, they asked how I did so many. I answered them in one word: practice. Soon after that, the recess bell rang and all the kids flooded the playground. I made my way over to the jungle gym. Of course, Kenny Williamson was there, the first day of school, and he was already bullying people and not letting them on the jungle gym. It was just him and a few of his so-called friends hanging out there. A couple of other kids were hanging around the border of the jungle gym, scared to go on it. I wasn't scared. I walked right over to it and up the stairs to the platform that leads to the monkey bars. I swung across the monkey bars, and when I got to the other side and dropped down, Kenny was standing and looking at me. "What do you think you're doing, Mark?" he growled at me. I acted really innocent. "Me? I'm going on the monkey bars," I told him. "You can't go on the monkey bars. Those are my monkey bars. In fact, you can't go on the jungle gym at all. This is my jungle gym," Kenny said sternly as he stepped a little closer to me. "This isn't your jungle gym, Kenny. This is everybody's jungle gym," and I responded in a calm voice. I could tell this surprised Kenny. No one had ever questioned him before. He didn't like it and told me, "No, it isn't. This jungle gym is mine, and I am the king of the jungle gym." A few, sorry, I just think it's funny. A few other kids started to gather around to watch. "No, Kenny, you are not the king of the jungle gym. Not anymore," I told him. The other kids looked shocked at what I had said. "You will see who the king is after I smash your little face," Kenny said to me as he brought his hand up and closed his fingers into a fist. There were even more kids watching now, and you could hear a pin drop as everybody expected me to get crushed. Then I got really serious. Super serious. The most serious I have ever been in my whole life. I had never felt this way before. I was angry, and I wasn't even mad. I was ready. All the training, all the jiu-jitsu, all the wrestling and sparring and pull-ups and working out, I knew 100% I was going to beat him. I stepped even closer to Kenny and said, "Go ahead and try, and I promise that you will never forget what I do to you." I was even a little surprised those words came out of my mouth, and it certainly surprised Kenny, too. I saw something change in his eyes. With all the training and sparring I had done, I now knew for sure that I could beat him in a fight, and now it seemed like he knew that too. And I realized that in all those years of being bigger and stronger and meaner than all the other kids, no one had ever stood up to him, and he had never actually been in a fight. All of a sudden, he was scared. He put his hand down. He stepped back. He looked down at the ground and walked away. The crowd of kids let out a sigh. I turned around and jumped back on the monkey bars and made it back to the platform. I climbed to the next level. The other kids were all just standing there, looking at me. I waved my hands and told them to come on up. One kid did, and then another, and then another. Before long, kids were all over the jungle gym, playing, running, swinging. It was great, except Kenny. He was sitting by himself with his head hung low. Even the kids that usually followed him around were gone. Then I remembered one of the things I learned in jiu-jitsu and one of the things Uncle Jake taught me. Treat other people with respect. So I walked over to Kenny and said, "Hey, Kenny." He looked up at me and said, "Yeah, the jungle gym is for everyone. Everyone includes you. Come on." I motioned with my head toward the jungle gym and turned and walked back toward it. After a few steps, I looked over my shoulder. Kenny was still sitting down, looking at me. I waved him over again. He didn't move, so I smiled and waved him over again. He cracked a little smile, stood up, and started walking toward me. When he got close enough, I said, "I'll race you to the monkey bars." He stood with a surprised look on his face until I said go, and we both started running. He barely beat me there, and when I got to the top, he held up his hand for a high five. Just like that, Kenny wasn't the king anymore, and he also wasn't a bully. Soon, he was laughing and playing with the rest of the kids. He was now one of the kids. It was only the first day of school, but I could tell this year was going to be the best year ever. And now we're here to the final chapter of Way of the Warrior Kid. Chapter 25. Letter to Uncle Jake. Uncle Jake has been gone for about 2 weeks now. I miss having him around, but I am still staying on the warrior path even without him here. I wrote him this letter to thank him for everything he did for me. Uncle Jake, I hope you are having a good time at college. I can tell you I am having the best time at school ever. I have aced all my math tests. I did 14 pull-ups during the first test in gym class. The trip to Mount Tom was amazing. I can't believe I couldn't swim before. And finally, I stood up to Kenny Williamson, and when I did, he backed down. He no longer controls the jungle gym. All of this is because of you. Thank you for showing me the way of the warrior kid. I don't know how I can ever thank you for everything you did for me. So I guess for now, I will just say thank you. Also, you told me I should have my own warrior kid code. Here it is. Number 1. The warrior kid wakes up early in the morning. Number 2. The warrior kid studies to learn and gain knowledge and asks questions if he doesn't understand. Number 3. The warrior kid trains hard, exercises, and eats right to be strong and fast and healthy. Number 4. The warrior kid trains to know how to fight so he can stand up to bullies to protect the weak. Number 5. The warrior kid treats people with respect and helps out other people whenever possible. Number 6. The warrior kid keeps things neat and is always prepared and ready for action. Number 7. The warrior kid stays humble. Number 8. The warrior kid works hard and always does his best. Number 9. I am the warrior kid. And that is it, Uncle Jake. That is my warrior kid code. Let me know if there's anything I should add or take away, or anything else I should do. Just like the Navy SEALs have their trident symbol, and the Rangers have their Rangers tab, and the Marines have their eagle, globe, and anchor symbol, I made up a symbol that means warrior kid. It will always remind me of who I am. Here it is. One more thing that has happened since school started. Some of the other kids, especially ones that remember how pathetic I was last year, have been asking what I did to get stronger and smarter and tougher. I have told them about everything you taught me. I am teaching them how to work out and how to use flashcards and how to study, and I have even shown them some basic jujitsu moves. And they are listening to me. It is almost like I am a leader of the group. But don't worry, I am staying humble. I'll tell you more about that later. Anyway, again, thanks for everything, Uncle Jake. Thanks for making me stronger and faster and smarter and better. Thanks for taking me to jujitsu so I won't get picked on and so I can stick up for others. Thanks for turning me into a warrior kid. With thanks, respect, and love, your nephew, Mark. And that was it. I was lucky to have Uncle Jake, but not everyone has an Uncle Jake. I know that. I also know that it doesn't really matter. Uncle Jake showed me the way of the warrior kid, but the way isn't magic. There aren't any tricks. You don't need someone to lead you down the path. You can walk down the path by yourself. Wake up early, exercise hard, eat good food, study, train jujitsu. The path to being a warrior kid is simple, but it is not easy. Sometimes it is hard to wake up early in the morning. Sometimes you won't want to work out. Sometimes it is hard to go train jujitsu. Sometimes you want to eat junk food. And in all those situations, that is when you have to use discipline to make yourself stay on the path. In the long run, the path of discipline will set you free. And that is it. I hope you enjoyed this book that we've gone through all summer. And we will see you at school, hopefully real soon. Be safe. Have fun. Talk to you soon.